Hi everyone, and welcome to our A Very Crafty Holiday for 2017. All week long on the My Favorite Things YouTube channel and blog, we will be creating crafty projects for various things for the holidays. So I am kicking off the week with some gift card ideas for loved ones and friends and family throughout the holidays. So I have picked out a few products. I have the Gift Card Grooves Dynamics. I have the A2 Stitch Rectangle Stacks, and I'm going to be using some of these to create some panels. And I also have a card base that I've pre-cut. Now, rather than use a standard A2 size card, which is what I normally create with, I have decided to use a 4-bar card to create a card to hold a gift card in. So just in case you're not familiar with a 4-bar size card, this measures 3.5 by 4 7/8, and it's just a little bit of a smaller card, so I find that it works really nice with a gift card inside. So that's why I decided to go with the smaller size. And you can purchase actual envelopes that fit this size, or you can just use your normal 4¼ by 5½ inch envelopes in A2 size, and it will fit nicely in there as well. So what I've done is I have cut out some panels ahead of time. So I have used the third smallest from the A2 Stitch Rectangle Stack Set 2, and this is going to be the panel that I add to both the front and the inside of my card. Now on the front, we're going to do some stamping to add some design to the card. And then on the inside, we're going to add that gift card groove die to be able to add our gift card on the inside. So for this first card design, I'm going to be using the Handwritten Holiday stamp set as well as the Happy Holiday stamp set. These are two stamp sets that we've just released, and I love the Handwritten Holiday because it has these really big, bold sentiments. They work really nicely on their own, and they also work nicely with images. So that's what I'm going to do here today. I'm going to combine one of the cute puppies along with this large sentiment. So I've stamped my puppy image onto white cardstock with some black licorice hybrid ink, and I stamped it again onto a piece of masking paper. So that's what I have here, and I'm cutting out the front part of this dog. I'm not going to worry about cutting out the entire image because I'm not going to be doing any stamping that's going to touch anywhere except the very front of him where his nose is. So I just kind of cut the front portion of the mask and added it over top of my stamping. And I put the whole panel into my mini Misty. And that's just because this is a really large, solid sentiment. And I know that I'm probably going to want to stamp this a couple of times to get a really nice, solid look. So having the Misty allows me to do that double stamping with no problem. So once I have that sentiment stamped there, I'm going to remove that from my Misty, and I can go ahead and remove the mask. And now I have the sentiment, and I have that puppy kind of in front of the sentiment, kind of overlapping the bottom portion of the P. But I love that it's all completely flat in one layer. So if you prefer not to do the masking and to go a little bit quicker, you can always do the stamping on a separate piece of cardstock for the dog image, die cut him with his coordinating die, and then just adhere him directly over that stamped word. So it's completely up to you. You can either go one layer or use the coordinating dies. So now it's time to add color to my puppy image. So I am using Copic markers, and I have all of the markers that I'm using on screen so you can easily see what colors I am using. And I will also have these in the description of the video down below as well, just in case you want to reference that. So I colored my puppy with warm grays. I wanted to keep him kind of not too dark. I wanted to kind of have him a little bit lighter in color. And I really want everything to kind of match on the card. And I know I'm going to incorporate some more gray. So I decided that that would be a great color for his fur. And then I'm using some reds and greens to do a traditional Christmas colored card where I have the stocking in the red and green stripe, and then I have the red for his Santa hat. I also added green to the collar to match the stocking, and then I used a little bit of cool grays to color in the white areas as well as his bell, and then I'm adding a little bit of pink to his cheek just to kind of give him a little bit of fun character. Once I had him fully colored in, I did add some gray below him just to kind of give him a bit of shadow and ground him onto that card base so he doesn't look like he's kind of floating in air. And then once I have that done, I'm going to start to work on the card base. So I have a piece of gray and white pattern paper from the Gray and White Basics paper pad, and I put that onto the card front that we created at the beginning out of the white cardstock, and then I positioned this panel right on top. So now I have this really cute stamped panel, and then I have that gray kind of peeking out from underneath, and it matches the puppy image perfectly. Now to create the panel on the inside, we need to cut the gift card groove out of the panel before we add the panel to the card. So I'm just kind of figuring out where I want to position this, and I'm using some repositionable tape to hold it in place. And then I'm just running this through my die cutting machine. And what I'm left with is this great opening here on the panel that's going to allow us to tuck our gift card inside. Before adding the panel to the card, I decided to do a little bit of stamping on here just to dress it up a bit. So I'm using a sentiment from the Happy Holiday stamp set and adding that directly underneath the gift card opening. And then I'm also embellishing a little bit with some ornaments and just kind of making them look like they're hanging from the top of the panel. So I'm going to stamp them first. I'm going to add color with my Copic markers, and then I'm just going to take a black marker once I finish this coloring to add some strings. So I'm using the same reds and greens that I used on the puppy image on the front, and this just helps to unify the design and kind of tie all the colors together and make it look like everything is supposed to go together. And then, like I mentioned, I'm just going to use a black marker and my T-square ruler and add some lines from the top of the panel to the ornaments just to kind of look like they are hanging on a string. And then once I had that done, I went ahead and added adhesive to the back of the panel. And you just want to keep in mind when you are adding the adhesive, you don't want to put it directly under that gift card opening because you're going to need to be able to put the gift card in. So if you have any adhesive there, it's going to prevent that from sliding down in there. So you can see that now I have it adhered. That gift card fits perfectly into that little opening. And it's just a fun way to give a gift card at the holidays rather than just handing a regular old gift card. This kind of pulls everything together and it's just a really cute card. For our second gift card holder, we're going to do a few score lines on this strip of cardstock before we start to assemble this. So I have a piece of cardstock that measures 11 inches by 4 1/4, and I'm going to do some score lines at 4 1/2 inches, 5 1/2 inches, and 6 1/2 inches. So it's super easy. There's just 3 score lines right in the center of this panel. And then once I have the score lines in there, I'm going to remove this and do some folding on all of those score lines. So I'm going to first fold it over on the very last, the third score line, and use my bone folder to really press that down. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the first score line. So I'm going to fold that over, line it up, and use my bone folder to really press that down. Now for the center score line, we're going to fold that in the opposite direction. So I'm going to fold it backwards onto itself, and I'm going to use that bone folder once again to really enforce that fold. And then once I have that done, you can see we kind of have this valley or mountain. It's kind of a neat way to create a gift card that's going to pop up in the center of the card. We do need to add some adhesive to the inside area of these 2 score lines, so I'm just taking some score tape, which is a really nice strong adhesive, and I'm running it along the edge there of that last score line. And I'm going to put that completely on there, trim it off, and remove the backing sheet. Then I'm going to fold this over onto itself so that the first score line and the third score line are actually meeting together and they are adhering together where I have that adhesive. And now you can see we have a card shape, but we have that little piece in the center, which is what we're going to use to create the pop-up portion to add our gift card to. So what I need to do there is I need to cut a little notch out of that piece to be able to add a gift card in there. Now I'm going to use the gift card groove die that I used for the first card because I know that it's sized perfectly to fit there. But if you don't have these dies, you can use anything. You can use a rectangle die or a square, anything that you have on hand as long as it's wide enough to fit the gift card. If you have a die that isn't quite wide enough, you can always use that as well, and then just use an X-Acto knife to extend that line until it's long enough to fit the gift card. So I added my die there and made sure that it's kind of hanging over the top because I don't want it to fully die cut. I just want the edge of it to die cut. And I used repositionable tape to make sure it holds in place. And now you can see when I remove the area that we die cut, we have this little kind of notched opening in that little valley in the inside of the card. And that's going to allow us to add the gift card in there. So it's just a really fun way to create a gift card holder with a little bit of dimension and fun because that gift card is going to pop up in the finished card. So I'm just going to slide my gift card in here and you can see how nicely it fits. And then I can just close the card and it goes completely flat with that gift card tucked inside. Now for this one I did a lot of the same embellishing, so I'm not going to go through all of the coloring and stuff with all of the pieces, but I do want to show you quickly how I put it together. So I added another piece of that gray and white pattern paper, this time a diagonal straight piece to the front. I've added a stitch square to the inside that I've stamped Warm Holiday Wishes onto, which is a new stamp from our October release. And then I'm going to add a stamped panel to the front as well, which uses another one of the puppy images from Happy Holidays. For this one, I colored the puppy exactly the same. I used the same colors, but I also cut out a cup and a heart from the Hot Cocoa Cups Dynamics, and I colored those in with some Copic markers so everything would kind of match. And I positioned the images to make it look like the puppy is leaning on that cup of coffee. I just thought it was really cute and would work well with the sentiment that we added to the inside and the fact that I'm adding a coffee gift card to this card. So I have all of my images adhered on the front now. I have my panel with my sentiment on the inside, and you can add one to the top of this card as well on the inside, but I felt like just having one on the bottom was enough. So now we have this really cute pop-up gift card, and this one is sized at 4¼ inches square. So this is going to fit in an A2 size envelope as well. So that is our 2 gift card holders. We have this really fun pop-up one that was easily created by just adding some score lines to a cardstock panel. And then we have our 4-bar size, which has the little panel on the inside, which has the gift card groove added to it. I hope today's video gave you some ideas on some different ways that you can create gift card holders for the holidays. Please leave a comment on today's video if you would like a chance to win the Crafty Holiday gift cards that we are giving out throughout this week. And we will see you tomorrow for more holiday fun.